What's up again, YouTube? Don here with another review with Eastern CT Vaper. Today's review is on a device by the company called eLeaf, and the device or mod that we will be reviewing today is the iStick 100 watt TC. Okay? Now eLeaf does have another iStick 100 watt, but it is only a variable wattage. It does not have temp control, so that is where this comes into play. Also, this review, I'm going to be doing it on the most up-to-date firmware. So, being that it's the 100 watt iStick, it actually goes to 120 watts with the firmware upgrade. So, it definitely ups it, which is a big plus. Also, this takes two 18650 batteries, but if you're not looking for that 100 or 120 watts, you can also run one 18650 in this. It is supposed to do only 75 watts with that one 18650. Since I've upgraded the firmware, it does go up to 120 watts, but as we all would know, no device is going to run 120 watts off of one 18650 battery. So I think with the firmware upgrade, it opens it to go that high, but we know it's not going to run that high. And also, with the firmware upgrade, it normally would have temperature control for Ni nickel, Ti titanium. Once you upgrade the firmware, it also now does temp control with stainless steel, and it also opens the door for the TCR function, so you can adjust them to your liking if you wish. Okay, very, very unique device. Has a hidden firing button, but all that and some we're going to get into at the table. So, before rambling on too much more, why don't we take a dive down to the table? But first, let's run a really quick credit.
Fate that we deserve, there's no escape, we're walking backwards.
And here we are at the table with our packaging for our eLeaf iStick TC 100 watt. Okay, do a brief overview of the packaging. Shows the iStick 100 watt TC on the front. Let you know here in the corner that you can upgrade the firmware. eLeaf here on the side. Let you know your coloring here. Mine is the white one. You can get them in gray and black also. Again, eLeaf. The iStick TC 100 watt and their website, eleafworld.com. Here is the bottom. It says iStick TC 100 watt. Tells you a little bit about the device. Keep out of reach of children. Let you know what comes in the box. The TC 100 watt without batteries, a USB cable, and a manual. I will show you that when we get in there. And you also get a scratch check code for authenticity check. Right, and your serial number. Now flipping the device over, we have our iStick TC 100 watt. We'll put that to the side though and go over the rest of the packaging. We have this little tab here. Let me pull that off. And this middle section is empty, but we take this off here at the bottom. And you get your USB cable for charging an upgradable firmware, and you get a user manual. As I stated in the opening, eLeaf also does have another iStick 100 watt, but that one does not have the TC or temp control. Alright. Quick overview of the product. We'll get into that port also up here. Just doing an overview right now. Okay. To go over some specs real quick. The device is 94 millimeters from top all the way to bottom. 94 millimeters tall. It is 52 millimeters across here. And it is also 23 millimeters thick. Starting up here at the top, we have our 510 thread with a spring-loaded 510 pin. Also, instead of a 5-click of the firing button, or you know how we all know to lock the device, to lock this firing button here at the top, we have a unlock and lock, so then our firing button is locked. Now, as I stated in the beginning, there is a nice, unique hidden firing button. As you've seen in the overview, there's no fire button that you can see. Well, the way that it goes is the side here, the battery cover, this whole side is the firing button. As you can see, if we push on the side, now our screen lights up, okay? So we press that, and you can see as we press it, no atomizer. So that is where the firing button is. If we remove our covers here to expose our 18650 batteries, you can see here at the top we have our magnet here, our magnet down here. On this side, same magnet at the bottom. You can see this top magnet is a little different because this is precisely where our firing button is. You can see that magnet is the firing button. So when the door is back on there, the panel's back on there, when we press the entire panel, it presses in on that magnet. Okay? The device does take two 18650 cells, which brings it up to 120 watts, as you will see here. Scrolls pretty quickly. Also, you can remove one of the 18650 cells. It is marketed that it's only going to do 75 watts with one cell in there, but it's still at 120 watts. With the firing button, it still says no atomizer, but still there. You can also replace our covers. And the covers, they are not side designated. You can put them on either side. As you can see here, I'll take this off. This left one, we'll flip it. It can go on the other side. Same with that. So it does not matter which side you put what panel on. Now, when it comes to the cells, it is marketed that your discharge current should be above 25 amps. Alright? And they say, for an example, the Sony VTC4 is a perfect battery for this device. The output mode has variable wattage, bypass, temperature control for nickel, titanium, stainless steel, or TCR, which it has 3 TCR memory modes. Okay? The output wattage is 1 to 120 watts. With the firmware upgrade, originally it is 1 to 100 watts. Okay? In temperature control mode, the resistance range is 0.05 ohms all the way to 1.5 ohms. In regular variable wattage or bypass mode, the resistance range goes from 0.1 to 3.5 ohms. And when in temperature control mode, the temperature range that you can vape between is 100 to 315 degrees Celsius, all the way to 200 to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. And also, they make these devices in the colors of white, gray, or black. Now, going into some of the modes. With the firing button, you can see our screen here says our voltage, our resistance, which I have no tank on it, and we're at 120 watts. Here on the front, we have our wattage down or our wattage up. It does not round robin though. If you get to the top, you got to hit your wattage down. You can see as we're hitting it, we can go in 0.1 increments, 3, 2, 1, 0, or we can press and hold it. And it starts a little bit slow, but it speeds up the longer you hold it. And it goes all the way down to 1 watt. Alright. Now if you're looking for temp control mode, down here at the bottom. This is just like the other iSticks, like the 60 watt TC. It has this third little button here, and you can see here it has the W for wattage mode. If we press that button and hold it, it puts us in bypass mode. Bypass mode, what that means is it bypasses the chip, and this basically is now a mech mod, or a mechanical mod. It has nothing to regulate it. It's straight power from the battery, and it says bypass even when you hit it, because it's not reading any wattage or anything. It will still read your resistance, but there's no wattage to adjust. If you press and hold that same button again, it puts us in NI mode at Fahrenheit. So reads our resistance and now wattage instead of voltage. Okay, it goes up in 10 watt increments, 530, which it then goes all the way to 600, then round robins into Celsius, which then if we press and hold it, goes pretty quick to 315 degrees Celsius, back into Fahrenheit mode. Again, goes in 10 watt increments, or you can press and hold it, and it goes fairly quick. Same thing back to here. Pretty quick in my opinion. Okay. If you're looking for temperature titanium mode, we press and hold the same button. Changes to TI for titanium mode. And the same thing goes for adjusting the wattage. All the modes are the same. Press and hold it again, we get our SS for stainless steel mode. And if we press it again, it goes to M1. This is our TCR functions. This is the memory 1 for whatever you program your memory 1 to, and I will be showing you how to get into the TCR menu to adjust that. Same thing, press it again. Memory 2 for our TCR. Same thing again. Memory 3 for our TCR. Press it again, and it brings us back to wattage. Now, back in temp mode, say we're in nickel mode, you can see it has our wattage here. To adjust that, you have to press and hold the mode button, and when you press it and hold it, you also have to press and hold either your wattage up or down, whichever way you want to go. So we're going to press that and hold our wattage button, and you can see we're at 60 watts, 70, 80, and we stop. Now our wattage is at 105. Okay, same thing, pressing down. We're at 104, going down, we'll stop there at 62 watts. Now say you want to go in 0.1 increments. Say we want to go to 62.5. When we press the mode button, instead of holding our wattage up or temperature up and down buttons, we're just going to press it one time. So pressing the mode, then we press our wattage up. You can see 60.4, 5, 6. You're going to want to watch this little screen here when you do it. It gets really confusing if you watch that other screen, because it only comes up for 1 second. This stays there. So same thing, if we're going to hit that, we're at 63.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, 64. Same thing if if you want to change your mode, press and hold it. Titanium mode, your wattage stays where you set it. Same thing if you want to adjust it, press and hold the mode button and say wattage down, and it comes up there. We're at 56.2. Say we want to round it to 56. Press the mode button and tap it once, twice, and we're at 56 watts. Now for the next thing, I'm going to have to add a tank for it. Now noted, this is the Griffin tank. It does not have a TC build in it for temperature control, but I just need a tank on here in general to show you. Okay, you can see with a tank on, it reads our resistance. We're at 0.36 ohms. Now to lock the resistance, what we're going to do is press our fire button and our wattage up, temperature up button at the same time. Ready? Press and hold them simultaneously. Press and hold. And you can see now we have a little lock button that locks our resistance. Same thing again. Press the fire button and the wattage temperature up button again. Press and hold them. And it unlocks, okay? Also, we can press the wattage up, temperature up. Same with the wattage down, temperature down, press the up and down buttons together simultaneously, and it locks our buttons, meaning we can't adjust any of it. This locks it. We can't adjust our modes. Oh, sorry, the mode will still adjust. I thought that would have locked that. Let's see, it says stainless steel. Okay, so that is not locked, but it's not going to adjust our wattage. You can see that stays locked, but we can still fire. Okay, to unlock it, same thing. Our up and down buttons together. Press and hold it simultaneously, and it's unlocked. Now we can adjust our wattage or temperature, whatever it is that you're doing. Now if you press our down button and the fire button together, press and hold them simultaneously, it puts us into stealth mode. Okay, if you adjust your wattage, the screen will come up so you can see it. But once the screen turns off, or you press the fire button, it'll turn it. Well, that's because I clicked it once. Press and hold the fire button to fire, and the screen turns off. Same thing if we fire again, no screen will come on. If you press it once, it will come up though for you to see. If you want it out of stealth mode, same thing. Our wattage temperature down button and the fire button together, and it turns stealth off. Now to turn the device on and off, see if the device is on, we press our firing button 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, device turns off. Same thing again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turns the device on. And usually there'd be maybe a 3-click or a 4-click does something. The only thing that the fire button does besides firing is powers it on and off. To change your temperature mode is with the mode button. Same with changing wattage, you press and hold the mode button and up and down. So all the fire button is doing is firing and turning the device on and off. Now, if you are into your TCR settings and you want to adjust them, to get into that, you're going to need to turn the device off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the device is off. Now what you're going to need to do is press the wattage or temperature up button and our firing button simultaneously together. Press and hold them for about 5 seconds. Pressing and holding. And this brings us now into our TCR mode. Wattage up, wattage down, adjust between memory 3, 2, or 1. 120 is the stock setting, standard setting that it comes with. I've changed TCR 3 to the tungsten mode for a ceramic tank. I have the Crixus tank. It turns off quick too if you don't adjust it. So pressing and holding it back in. So say you got your memory 1, 2, and 3. Like I said, I had adjusted 3 to 450 for tungsten for my ceramic tank. So say we want to adjust memory 2. We go to memory 2 and press the fire button 1 time. Now we can adjust our TCR function. And when we have the number we're looking for, press the fire button again, and it brings it back to whichever mode. Okay, same thing, mode 3, I had changed it to 450 for tungsten. Press the fire button and it's set. You can go back and adjust 1 or 2 if you'd like. And if you just let it sit for, a couple seconds, it turns it off. The device is still off. So now say you would like to flip the screen. You don't like looking at it this way, you'd rather look at it this way. While the device is still off, press and hold the up and down button together simultaneously, like so, and it flips the screen to this way now. Same thing, press up and down again together simultaneously, flips the screen, so we're back this way now. Turn the device on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are back. And last but not least, on the bottom of the device, we have our USB port for charging and upgradable firmware, which I've used this to upgrade the firmware. You can charge your 18650 cells in the device, but it is not recommended. It's recommended that you take them out of the device and charge them in a separate charger, but you can, the option is there to charge it. And if you do have the device or you're interested in getting the device and you are wondering how to upgrade the firmware, just go to www.eleafworld.com. I will put a link in the description and talk about that more in the final thoughts. So, I've gone over the device, we've done an overlook, I've gone over specs, I've shown you all the functions that this device has, how it changes modes, gone over the resistance range and all of that. So, I think I've fully gone over this device for you guys, and I think that it is now time that we go back to FaceTime. I'm going to show you how this thing vapes with the Griffin standard 22 Griffin tank on top. I'm going to show you how this vapes with that tank on it. I'm going to go over some pros and some cons for this device, and then we're going to end off with a few final thoughts. And welcome back to FaceTime, guys. After going over all of the packaging and the product and seeing what it can do, I'm sure you're all asking yourself, how does that mod work? Okay, so here I am to show you that. I have the Griffin 22 with top airflow. I'll be getting into that in the next video, but the Griffin 22 with the top airflow on it, all airflow wide open, and I've got the iStick TC 100 watt. I've got it at 65 watts, and the resistance is 0.37. Let's have a vape and see how this works. Now, this iStick has fantastic power. I have two other mods that I'll vape this tank at 65 watts, and it's a nice mellow vape. With this, the iStick TC 100 watt, it's a very intense vape. To me, everything that I would vape in my other mods or on my other mods, everything that I would vape at a certain wattage, I need to turn it down with this one. It just seems like everything, this thing just packs a punch to everything versus everything else. It's almost like it vapes at a higher wattage than what it says. So now, before we get too much further into this video, I think it's time to go over some pros and some cons for this device. Alright, let's start with some pros. Alright, it holds two 18650 cells, which is great. It gives it excellent battery life. Also, that's a big pro, is that some people, if you saved up your money and you're on a budget and you finally got this, two batteries might be a little bit expensive. You might have one battery laying around. You can run this with one battery. So that is a big pro. Some people also aren't needing 100 or 120 watts. So it's nice that you can run it in a single battery and kind of tone it down just a little bit. Another pro for this, the firing button is kind of hidden and nice and built in the side. You squeeze the whole side and that's the firing button. That's a really big pro in my opinion. It leaves the device looking nice and sleek, and it does have a few buttons here at the bottom, but it's got this black strip and the buttons kind of blend with the black strip. So there's not, you don't see any firing buttons on the side. They kept it nice and sleek and just very nice. So, big pro. Also, I like the fact that the 18650s go behind these panels here on the sides. I think that's a very big pro because you can change these panels. So, if you want to add, gray panels, or if you have a black one, you want to add these white panels, you can interchange the panels. So it gives it a little bit more flash, if that's what you're looking for. Also, it has a very nice locking switch up here at the top. You flip that and it locks it, so you can't even squeeze it at all. I think that's a very big pro because it's nice and safe. I can't count how many times I've had a device in my pocket and I'm at the grocery store or something and I squat down to look at something on a lower shelf, and when I squat, my jeans tense up around it and hit a firing button. I've done that and I've ruined many a coil, almost hurt myself and my my mod. So again, big pro that it's a nice safety feature. Very well thought out, eLeaf. On the Final Pro, it's 23 millimeters across. So a lot of people, I know 25 millimeter tanks and RTAs are really big right now. Those will probably overhang just a little bit, but if you're using your standard 22, you're gonna have extra space. So they left a little bit of extra room, so if you wanted to use a bigger RDA or tank or whatever, they left that little bit of extra room. And for the Final Pro for this, they added some vent holes here on the top and then also on the bottom, so it can breathe in case you have a battery failure and it needs to vent. It's not going to blow up, or I mean, anything could happen, but they've got vent holes, so it's that extra precaution just in case. And now let's get into some cons for this device. And unfortunately, I had one too many cons than I wanted. Actually, I would have liked to have seen no cons for this, but unfortunately, there's a few too many. Starting with it, same with all the other iSticks, I hate this mode button. It's a real big pain in the ass when you're in temperature control mode and you need to adjust your wattage in temp mode. You have to hold that button while either tapping or holding. I hate the fact you have to hold those two buttons. It would have been nice, and I said this when I reviewed the TC 60 watt, the iStick TC 60 watt. It would have been a lot nicer if it would have been 3 clicks to the fire button and that opened up your wattage for adjustment instead of having to hold that mode button. I think really it would have been in eLeaf's best interest to, you know, the only thing the fire button does is fire and 5 clicks shuts it off. They had room for 3 clicks to adjust your mode or 4 clicks to adjust your wattage, and they could have eliminated one more button. So in doing that, they had to add another button and therefore make it a bigger pain in the ass. So definite con in my opinion. Also, the locking switch here at the top for the firing button, it is really hard. I bought this device for my wife, and every time that she wants to lock it to put it down somewhere, I have to do it for her. She can't even lock it, and I even have a hard time doing it. It can be done, but I'm sitting here doing it while I'm talking to you guys, and I mean, it's ready to bust apart my nail. If you put your nail into the little groove into the center, I don't even know if you'd be able to lock it with your nail in there without slipping off of it. I put my nail here at the far edge, all the way at the side, and do it from there, and it really takes some force to do it, so I'm really not a big fan of that, big con. And the final con that I can come up with is the USB and charging port. This has been said a million times to every company out there. Stop putting that on the bottom, because now you can't set it up whether you want to charge it. I mean, it is recommended that you don't charge your batteries in there, but to each his own. And if you prefer to charge your batteries in this, you have to lay it down to do that. Or if you're really quickly, you know, plugging it in, upgrading your firmware, you have to lay it down. So you either got to take your tanks off of it and lay it down. You know, me personally, I tend to wake up a lot at night, and you know, 3 a.m. hits and I happen to wake up, I get a drink real quick and I hit my vape. It would be such a pain in the ass to have to grab a tank and then put it on and hit it real quick. So like I said, you're either going to have to take your tanks off and lay it down, or lay it down with your tanks, which then you risk leaking. And that there is going to wrap up the pros and cons for this device. Now before I wrap it up, I do want to go into a few final thoughts for this. I think it was excellent that eLeaf had put out another device. I know they already had their iStick 100 watt, but it didn't have TC. So they stepped it up in doing that with this device and, you know, opened that door for temp control. I really like the fact that they had that fire button on the side. It made it so much more sleeker. It's very comfortable in the hand. That was definitely a big pro for this company too. It fits great, and you don't have to move a finger around to hit a fire button or a pointer. You just tighten your grip a little bit. It's so great. The price point on it also is fantastic. If you are looking to get this device, it normally ranges between $38 to $40, give or take, depending on where you look as well. Now, I was able to find this on a website known as myvaporstore.com. and the usual price even for them is $36.95. But they have knocked the price down, and you can get this for $32.50, which is a fantastic price. I think even I pay more than this than at that site. I should have done some shopping on it. I think I paid around $38. I think it was $39.99 that I paid for this. So I could have gotten it much cheaper than that. So, words of advice, shop around. I was really excited to get this, and I just took the first deal that came into view, and I happened to pay a little bit extra. But that brings me into my next question. If I was to lose this device, or if it was to happen to break tomorrow, would I go out and repurchase it? And the answer is yes, I would. I really enjoy the device. I love the fact that it goes with the firmware upgrade to 120 watts. Also, I really enjoy the fact that it has the firmware upgrade option. A lot of companies, Kangaroo for instance, started off without having firmware upgrade, and then they had their 50 watt device and 70 watt device and 120 watt device and then the 200 watt device. You know, a company like this now has firmware upgrade, so you don't have to go and buy a whole new device. You can just upgrade your firmware and have the most up-to-date mod options. Also, I would definitely buy this again and really recommend it to people. The fact that it's nice and comfortable, it's easy to vape, you don't have buttons and all that to, you know, once you have everything adjusted with your buttons on the go, it's just a quick grab and go. You don't have to search for a button or readjust it in your hand a certain way. You know, some mech mods are like that with a switch at the bottom. You have to, you know, adjust your hand and get the button in there right. That's a mech mod. With this though, I mean, granted this isn't a mech mod, it's on the go, and if you're holding it in your hand, that's it. There's no adjusting, there's no looking for it. The entire side is the fire button. Really enjoy this device for that fact. Also, I really enjoy it. One of my first devices was the Joytech eVic Mini, and that was a single 18650 device. That's what got me started. I really enjoyed this device for the fact that I got this from my wife, and she's very new into vaping. So if she wants to tone it down, she can throw one 18650 in this, and that, I mean, for how new she is into vaping, that'll last her 2 days. So she doesn't need to carry this around with 2 batteries in it. So buying batteries, for one, is a much cheaper option, and for 2, she doesn't need all that power. She only vapes at like 30 watts, and that's high for her vaping standards. So that's really nice that the option's there to tone it down, and then say, I want to use it for a day. I can throw that second battery in there and up the power and get that 120 watts if I so choose. So there's many pros to this device. I really enjoyed it, and the answer is yes. If I was to break or lose this, I would definitely go out and repurchase this device. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to wrap it up for this review. I really appreciate you guys stopping by and checking this out. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Please be sure down below in the comment section to let me know what you think, and also hit that like and dislike button. And also, while you're down there, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. Be sure to check out videos future, past, and present. There's tons more to come. Tons have passed. Make sure that you don't miss out. Also, guys, be sure to check out CASAD.org, NotBlowingSmoke.org, and TheVapingMilitia.org. Check out all of their calls to action, and be sure to sign up to fight for your vaping rights. It does not even take 5 minutes, guys, and it makes such a difference, so be sure to do your part. Also, you can find me on social media, Facebook.com, Instagram.com, and Twitter.com, all of those /Eastern CT Vaper. And that is going to wrap it up for me, guys. I appreciate you stopping by. Until next time, for Eastern CT Vaper, this is the eLeaf iStick TC 100 watt. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is Don. And always remember to vape on.